Welcome to the Title 2 Evidence-Based Activities Requirement Guidance video. This presentation is intended solely to provide general information and guidance to Texas LEAs, ESCs, nonprofit subgrantees, and participating private schools receiving equitable services. The content in this presentation reflects the Texas Education Agency's current understanding of statute and applicable federal guidance. The content of this presentation is subject to change as a result of future guidance and/or other updates provided by federal agencies with regulatory oversight of these programs. This presentation does not constitute legal advice, and entities are, therefore, advised to seek legal counsel regarding the information and guidance provided in this presentation before acting upon the information provided. Recording use of artificial intelligence, the Texas Education Agency, TEA, does not permit third-party recording or use of artificial intelligence, AI, summary services during its grants-related trainings. Attendees of TEA's grants-related trainings may not use AI services, language models, applications, interfaces, or assistance to attend, review, or record the trainings. TEA further prohibits any person or entity from using the information included in its grants-related trainings to train AI technologies. Any attendees of TEA's grant-related trainings who violate this prohibition may be removed from the trainings and might be barred from attending future grants-related trainings. Documenting overall compliance for a program requirement may require several forms of documentation to be maintained locally and available upon request by TEA and/or an auditor. To ensure overall compliance with program requirements, LEAs should refer to the program guide and/or other program-related resources that reference the multiple forms of documentation required to be maintained locally. The documentation requested for submission during the validation process may not include all forms of documentation that are required to be maintained locally. Here we have the chosen program requirement for the upcoming monitoring process, LEA use of funds for evidence-based activities. Reducing class size to a level that is evidence-based and used to improve student achievement through the recruitment and hiring of additional effective teachers, carrying out other activities that are evidence-based and identified by the local education agency that meet the purpose of the Title II Part A program. For this requirement, the LEA is required to submit relevant activity, strategy, or intervention documentation for one evidence-based activity funded by Title II Part A funds as per submitted 2024-2025 ESSA Consolidated Application PS 3104 Part 1C3 and reported relevant expenditures in Title II Part A Compliance Report PR 3000 Part 3 Line 3. Acceptable documentation. The title page and relevant pages from the District Improvement Plan showing the document use of Title II Part A funds for an evidence-based activity. Please note that while we are requesting documentation for LEA for use of funds for evidence-based activities, the Texas Education Agency will also review whether the submitted documentation represents an allowable use of funds, including but not limited to compliance with applicable supplemental supplant requirements. Issues that may result in an improvement needed status include auditable documentation requested was not submitted. Documentation submitted does not show that the activity was paid out of Title II Part A funds. Documentation does not demonstrate activity, strategy, or intervention as evidence-based. Documentation submitted is for a state-required activity and is therefore a supplant. The documentation requirement for 1.2 is documentation of evidence for item 1.1. Acceptable documentation include documentation of evidence demonstrating a statistically significant effect on improving student outcomes or other relevant outcomes based on a strong evidence, moderate evidence, or promising evidence. Or documentation that demonstrates a rationale based on high-quality research findings or positive evaluation that such activity, strategy, or intervention is likely to improve student outcomes or other relevant outcomes, and includes ongoing efforts to examine the efforts of such activity, strategy, or intervention. Documentation should align with the evidence-based activity submitted for item 1.1. Issues that may result in improving needed status include audit to the documentation requested was not submitted, documentation submitted does not align to the activity, strategy, or intervention described in Item 1.1 documentation, documentation submitted is not tied to the evidence-based activity described. Now, let's go over the different resources and support. These resources are available for school systems to review prior to submitting documentation for selected PMB requirements. Please take advantage of these documents to ensure the district is informed of the overall process for program monitoring validations and all program-specific resources. In order to assist with the monitoring process, school systems may refer to the ESA Program Monitoring Validations page, the guidance document, the training slides, and the training video. Furthermore, the school systems may reach out to the Education Service Center for support. These service centers provide complementary technical assistance and training available from each regional ESC. For a list of contacts for each regional center, please go to the TEA Title II Part A webpage. Thank you so much for your time and attention. If you have any questions, please reach out to the contact information listed.